Officials in Austin saying the manhunt for a serial bomber is now over, but they're also warning people in that Texas city that the potentially deadly threat remains right now. Now, their prime suspect is dead, but investigators say more bombs could be out there. Here is the Austin police chief describing the dramatic end to their manhunt earlier this morning.
Beginning within the past 24 to 36 hours, we started getting information on one person of interest that we continued to work on and continue to develop. And as we continued to do our investigations, this person of interest ultimately moved to being a suspect. And that's what we started focusing on, was his involvement in these crimes. Late last night and early this morning, we felt very confident that this was the suspect in the bombing incidents that took place in Austin. We had surveillance teams looking for this suspect, and we ultimately located the vehicle that this suspect was known to be driving, and witnesses told us he was driving. And in fact, we found that at a hotel right up the road here in Round Rock. We had multiple officers from both the police department and our federal partners that took up positions around the hotel awaiting the arrival of our tactical teams, because we wanted to have ballistic vehicles here so we could attempt to take this suspect into custody as safely as possible. While we were waiting for those vehicles to get here, much time had passed and the vehicle started to drive away. We began following the vehicle, again waiting to get the tactical vehicles here so we could take this, make a stop. However, the vehicle ended up stopping in the bar ditch on the side of the road behind us. As members of the Austin Police Department SWAT team approached the vehicle, the suspect detonated a bomb inside the vehicle, knocking one of our SWAT officers back, and one of our SWAT officers fired at the suspect as well. The suspect is deceased and has significant injuries from a blast that occurred from detonating a bomb inside his vehicle. We cannot name the suspect at this time because he has not been positively identified yet by the medical examiner, and next of kin have not yet been notified. We don't know where this suspect has spent his last 24 hours, and therefore we still need to remain vigilant to ensure that no other packages or devices have been left through the community.
Chief, was the suspect an Austin resident?
Suspects involved? Are you still looking for other individuals who may be connected to this one, or was this a lone wolf?
This investigation is still underway, so we cannot say that this was an individual acting on their own. That's why this investigation will continue through the day or days coming.
Without naming the suspect, can you give us at least some biographical details? Rough age? Was he an Austin resident?
The individual involved in this incident was a 24-year-old white male, and we're not going to give out any information regarding his residence.
Any accomplices, sir?
Sorry?
Maybe you covered this, but any accomplices?
As I said, this investigation is ongoing. We want to make sure that we have confirmed that he either acted alone, or if there were any accomplices, that we identify them.
Does this individual date back to March 2nd?
We believe that this individual is responsible for all incidents that have taken place in Austin, starting on March 2nd, those that occurred since then as well.
And here's what we know about the bombing so far. The attacks beginning in Austin on March the 2nd. 3 blasts came from parcels left at the victims' front doors. And authorities say the 4th bombing in Austin was triggered by a tripwire. Now, there was also a 5th explosion that happened earlier yesterday in nearby San Antonio. That parcel bomb went off inside a FedEx plant. The bombings have left 2 people dead, 4 others wounded. Well, just into us right now, we are hearing from U.S. media outlets, and they are now just identifying the bombing suspect, reports quoting sources as saying the suspect's name is Mark Anthony Condit. We have more now from Austin. Let's go to Jay Gray with NBC News. He joins us with the latest on this one. So investigators, Jay, are still working to answer one of the big questions right now, and that question is, why?
Yeah, Michael, and there's big concern that the answer to that question, why it may have died in the last explosion here along the highway. Let's walk through exactly what happened and how authorities honed in on Mark Anthony Condon. They say they used video evidence as well as witness information to track down the 24-year-old, finding his vehicle in a parking lot just across Interstate 35 here in Round Rock, a northern suburb of Austin. They say as they moved in and waited on tactical officers, he began to drive away, going 2, maybe 3 blocks before pulling into a ditch alongside the highway. SWAT team members approached the vehicle, and at that point, they say he detonated an explosive inside the car. That blast throwing back one of the SWAT officers. We're told he's fine, no serious injuries. Another fired a shot into the vehicle, and Condit died as a result of what happened there. They say that this is still an ongoing investigation, that they had no idea where Condit was over the last 24 hours and don't know if perhaps he left other devices in other places. So they're asking people across the area to continue to be very aware and very vigilant about anything they see out of the ordinary. As for answers to the questions about why all of this happened, the main focus of that investigation seems to be in Pflugerville, a town about 15 minutes to the north of here, at a residence that Condon apparently shared with 2 roommates. Investigators are there. They obviously want to know what, if anything, these roommates may have known about the attacks, how any else may have been involved here, and so that's something they're pursuing very vigorously right now, Michael.
And Jay, we have to say that as people are watching us right now, we are showing them pictures of police outside that home in Pflugerville that you have just referenced. This is where Condit lived, apparently, with 2 other roommates, as you've just told us. Walk us through more about this investigation, because as you said very briefly off top there, this investigation, according to Austin police, is far from over.
Yeah, no, again, they want to make sure there are no other devices out and about. As you know, the last 2 explosive packages were sent through a courier service, FedEx, one of those exploding in a sorting center outside of San Antonio. The other one did not detonate and was very valuable evidence-wise, investigators are saying here. Also, they want to make sure that this was the only person involved, and that's where the 2 roommates come in. You would think that perhaps they knew something was going on, or at least something was out of the ordinary here. But again, very early in this stage of the investigation, and those are questions that authorities have for those roommates and others who may have known this man.